The age-old question, the big debate on cashback cards versus points cards. Now, I may be a little biased. If you're on the channel, you know that I enjoy traveling and I travel enough where I get a lot of rewards from points cards. But I'd still want to break down kind of some things to think about and the pros and cons of cashback cards versus travel cards. So we're going to do it in, of course, our beautiful Hawaiian party shirt here because we like travel and we like looking good while we do it. But let's break down that and pose some questions on some things I really think a lot of people should think about. I did actually try to record this video before. It was way too long, all over the place, kind of, but just too much talking. And I just want to make it simple, easy to understand. And it's probably going to be pretty boring as well, because I'm going to walk you through some slideshows and just really show you the bullet points of what I'm thinking. And of course, hit the comment section, hit the like and subscribe button. I want someone to argue with me in the comments about why cashback is better than points, because that would be fun to debate. So let's get to that. But as always, your situation, your goals are much different, and that should be up for you to decide. My goal here is to just provide you the information that I have for you to decide what is best for you. So let's jump into it. Woo! So first off, let's jump into cashback. Of course, the positives of cashback, yes, it's just easier for most people to remember. It's a simple process. You don't have to think much. There's not much that you have to do. You get 2%, 3% back, right? And it just shows up into your account. So essentially, right, you can redeem that cash, which a lot of people will redeem it towards, paying their statement credits or for Amazon purchases and things of that matter. It's just simple, easy process, and you feel like you get a reward in that portal. But it is kind of stuck at that scenario. There's not much way that you can stretch the value even more than what you're getting on the cashback. So that is one thing to think about, right? You can use it for everything. There are cashback cards that are pretty much 2% back on everything. So you can use that card. There's not much thinking about what cards you need to utilize, although some give you higher percentages back in certain categories, just like with travel cards. Now, with cashback cards, right, they're more catered to beginners. So a lot of people, their first initial card is a cashback card. I know my first card was a Discover It card, and I pretty much just used that when I saw it on Amazon and said, hey, I have $15, $20. Let's use a part of that cashback towards this purchase for, vitamins or multivitamins or something like that. So it is catered more towards beginners. If you don't like traveling, right, or you don't travel at all, right, cashback is probably just going to be easier for you to use. And if you're not traveling and you don't use your points that way, what's the point of using your points if you don't travel at all? So pretty simple, right? That's kind of self-explanatory. And another positive of the cashback cards is usually they're just not going to have any larger annual fees. There'll be no annual fees or $95 annual fees, things of that sort. So you're not paying as high as annual fees, such as some of the travel cards that are available. So I do have a hard take, which we'll talk about when it comes to annual fees, but those are the positives of cashback cards. Like I said, it's going to be simple, boring, to the point for you guys to understand. So I'm not rambling on a bunch of stuff. Now, the negatives of cashback cards. So usually you're not going to have many benefits whatsoever. Outside of that cashback, you're not going to have perks like lounge access, phone and travel insurance, which can be amazing because if you get delayed flights, you get canceled flights, you can get reimbursed on those as well. Foreign transaction fees, typically on most cashback cards, they don't have that. So if you do an international trip, you're still going to be paying that 2 to 5% on each purchase because you don't have foreign transaction fees on there. And of course, you lose kind of things like purchase protection, return protection, things of that sort. So the benefits and perks aren't necessarily there on cashback cards, which is something that a lot of people overlook initially, especially with travel cards, when it comes to like that travel insurance or baggage insurance and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to cashback, they're basic redemptions. There's not a way for you to stretch the value. You get that 2% cash back and it comes in a cash form. And there's not a way that you can get, $500 worth of value from that cash back with just $200. So you're kind of stuck in that scenario. There's not a way to stretch it. One thing to think about, right? This might be more valuable to people that might have less income or don't have as much spending, right? That cash back might be more important for you, right? If you get 600 of those cash back a year and that can go towards your statement credits, that might go further and be more beneficial for people with less income or more structured income. So that is something to think about as well to help, paying statements, or even I thought about buying, presents during Christmas for your family, being able to, use the $600 back for that. That's actually like a really good idea as well. But that might be helpful for some people in that scenario. Now, this is something I really want to point out because I don't think people really look at their actual spending habits and what they're spending. So this is what most people are going to do, right? They're going to look up best cashback cards because they're familiar with that. They like cashback, and this is kind of what they're going to go with. So I'm just going to go with that same scenario rather than explaining a ton of different cashback cards. But Wells Fargo Active Cash, that's 2% back on everything, right? That's one of those cards that you can spend to get 2% back on everything. Freedom Unlimited, you can actually use that for cashback or points. Good thing about the Freedom Unlimited is you can actually transfer those points into your Chase Sapphire Preferred or your Reserve, and then transfer those points into better redemptions. But you can use it for cashback or points within Chase. And that's a really good card, as well as they offer kind of incentives. Like in Q1 right now, they're offering additional cashback, 5% on things like groceries or gas or your top spend categories. So that might be a time that you want to use that card more because you're just getting more benefit out of the time. But what I do want to mention is the Blue Cash Preferred with American Express. Why I'm just going to break this down real quick is they give 6% back on groceries per year, but it's capped at $6,000. So let's take that scenario. Let's say you use it for $6,000 a year times 6%. You're getting $360 a year on that max out at 6%. 6% is a pretty high cashback scenario. So is $360 or $30 a month worth it for you? Right? This is what a lot of people ask me, why travel cards or why cashback cards? But I want to give an overarching idea here. Let's say you spend $20,000 a year on your credit card, right? Let's say you have a standard, let's say 3% cash back on everything. And $20,000 is a lot. That's like $1,600 a month. So I think $20,000 is more than the majority of people are actually spending. So this is just something to really think about. Is cashback really worth it to me? So let's say you do that. You get $600 a year, which is $50 a month. $600 a year. Is that worth it for you on the cashback side of things? Like, honestly, does $600 get you excited? Does it get you going? Does it get you, happy about that? Like I said, for some people's scenario, that $600 can be extremely helpful. But for others, right, $600 doesn't get me running around, jumping up and down. So really think about that. How much spending are you actually doing on a credit card? And are you really getting much reward or value out of that cash back? Because to be honest, $600 of points, 60,000 points, I can fly home to Minnesota, which I have, for 6,000 to 9,000 points each time one way. I can get 8 flights off of one sign-up bonus, right? So as well, that's something to think about. Cashback cards, they have lower sign-up bonuses as well. So it's like $200 to $250. So that's something additional where, travel cards can get you 60 to 80,000 points. So I just want to point that out because I think that's really helpful to understand, is how much spending are you actually doing on a cashback card and how much value are you actually getting out of it? $600 a year, right? Does it get you jumping up and down? I don't know. Maybe it does for some people. So now the fun stuff. And like I said, I'm a little biased towards points because I see so much benefit from it and it provides just so much value for me. And I really enjoy traveling. Like I said, if you don't enjoy traveling a whole lot, right, there is still a scenario that I want to talk about, but let's talk about the positives first. So yes, there is more skill involved, right? You need to know how to search, where to search, how to use your points the right way instead of using them in the portal, right? You need to understand, certain loyalty programs and transfer partners. So it takes more work. It definitely takes more skill. But in my opinion, you get way more value. You get way more savings for that. And if you don't know, right, we do have a free school group where we teach you how to do this, where we're providing absolute free value to all of you who are looking to use your points the right way, use credit cards the right way, use leverage, business funding, personal credit, right? How important that is. So join the free school group if you haven't, and that way we can help you out and show you how to get, crazy home run wins, which we're going to talk about. So another positive of the points cards and travel cards is you typically get larger bonuses and additional perks. So the perks that we were talking about, the travel insurance, right? The no foreign transaction fees, lounge access, those are many of the perks, right? And a lot of travel cards also give you like statement credits. So you can get TSA pre and global entry for free, which makes travel that much easier. You get statement credits towards, Uber Eats and DoorDash and things of that sort that end up lowering, these annual fees and giving you more value. And those larger bonuses, 80,000, 100,000, 150,000 points per sign-up bonus, are much larger than what you're going to get on the cashback cards. Now, The other positive, this is really the fun stuff, is you can use your points to get home run redemptions, 5, 10 times the value of those points. So, this just makes it more fun. It opens up way more opportunities for normal people like ourselves to really have experiences that we would not pay cash for. So, a business class on Air France or Emirates or Qatar, right? We get to fly these $5,000, $10,000 flights that we might not pay cash for, and now we get to have that type of experience because points provided it to us. And right when we put the right information together, when we learn how to utilize and search and transfer our points, that is what is awesome about it. So for me, it's much more fun. Another thing that I don't really see people mention a lot, though, is points really gives you a lot of flexibility. And by flexibility, I mean a lot of people will travel on weekends, right? Weekends points allows you to be flexible when you arrive and when you leave. So a lot of the times these hot dates for traveling are going to be, Thursdays, Fridays, leaving on Sundays, and those flights are going to cost more money. So if you have points available, it gives you leverage to be flexible. So I've had plenty of trips where I've decided to leave on a Monday where I can actually pay cash for a flight that's $140 or $100, and that same flight the day before is going to be $350, right? Or I can arrive earlier a day before and I can do the same and I can use points to stay at a hotel that night before all my friends arrive. So it gives you that type of flexibility. It also gives you the flexibility if the cheap flight is at 6 a.m. on a Sunday, you don't want to wake up and leave at 6 a.m. on a Sunday versus the more expensive flight being in the afternoon, right? You can get that extra day. So I think it provides you major flexibility, which I think is a super advantageous because now you can decide to pay cash or use points. If you just have cash back cards, you don't have the option. You have to do what everyone else does. So flexibility is huge. Now let's jump in to the negatives, right? So there is uncertainty with the value of the points, right? You see the points and you don't know if whether you should use them or how you should use them and kind of what the value is, but you do have the flexibility of getting right home run redemptions and stretching the value of your points. But some people may see that as a negative, so decided to put that on there, but that's exactly why, we teach a system of how to redeem. That's exactly why we don't want to redeem our points unless we're getting 2 times the value or more, because it's just easier to pay cash at that point and not waste them because we know we can get a way better deal or bargain later on. Now, another negative is going to be the annual fees, right? Travel cards do have higher annual fees. So you need to understand what cards provide you the most benefit. As a single guy, the Amex Platinum, it does have a high annual fee, but then I don't have to pay anything or for anyone else unless they're traveling with me to have access to lounges and things of that sort. So you can be methodical about your annual fees. You can get lower annual fees, $95 annual fees at different, partners and banks. So you can keep your annual fees low. But yes, they do have higher annual fees. So that is something to think about and to understand. Now, this is probably going to get some flack, but I do have a hard take on annual fees because a lot of people that actually complain about an annual fee, and it's usually like the lower annual fees, like the $95 annual fees. Think about that. That's like $8 a month. People are spending, 20, 30, $50 a month on subscription services, which some of the travel cards actually provide you kickback on as well. But if you're someone that is going to the bars or going out and spending money on drinks every weekend, $100, $200 a week on drinks and going out, or you're spending money on a bunch of liabilities, makeup and a bunch of extra clothes, the annual fee isn't something that you should be worried about. It should be the habits of your spending. So I have a hard take on annual fees because the benefits that I get from the travel cards, and if you actually use those benefits and or use your points the right way, the annual fee should not matter to you, right? Because you need to think about where are you spending, money in bad places that don't really provide you value, where you could be spending on these cards, getting value, and then getting free travel, thousands of dollars saved. So really I have a hard take on annual fees. Some people like that, some people don't. But that is my take on that. Now, with points, there is some negatives when it comes to more loyalty to certain programs. So you do get additional benefits if you fly a certain airline right? Or you stay with a certain hotel. Sometimes people fly specific airlines or hotels with their business or with the companies that they work for. So they are more loyal to those programs because they have status. For me specifically, I am more loyal to Hyatt. I really like American Airlines as well because I get more benefit out of those programs by, utilizing certain cards or flying or staying with them. With Hyatt, I have Globalist, so I get more upgrades as well. There'll be videos on, things of that sort, why I like Hyatt, and I think I just get way more value for my points with them. So yes, you need to think about, right, more loyalty when it comes down to it and whether that's important to you. The other thing with points, which some people consider it a negative, I consider it kind of a positive, but I want to mention is typically you do need to be more flexible with your travel. If you are strict on, I always have to leave on a Friday, I always have to leave on a Sunday, right? You're not going to get as much availability. You're not going to get as much value out of your points that way. So being flexible can be a disadvantage for some, but I figured I would mention that because, right, you can get better deals by finding better options on different days. But it can also be a benefit, like I said. So that really breaks it down. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that things were, boring and straight to the point. I wanted to make sure that it was easy for you guys to check out really kind of what I had down for cashback and travel cards and points. So let me know. I want someone to really give me the rundown of why they think cashback is the all winner in the bottom. For me, I travel a lot. I love travel. So if I can have an amazing experience, if I can use points and use my cards in the right places and be able to save thousands of dollars, have great experiences, luxury experiences on points without having to pay cash, then I want to do that. But like I said, that's cashback. That's the pros. That is some of the cons that I see. If there's some things I missed out on, let me know. Hit the comments section. That is the points, the pros, the cons, my thoughts on it. But there we are, guys. I appreciate the participation. Like I said, hit like, subscribe, comment in the section, and join the free school group if you want to network, collaborate, and meet new people and continue to learn the process of points, credit, and finance. So talk to you guys soon.